If you believe a better world starts from within, you're in the right place. Welcome to Hold the Light. I'm Lori Gunning-Grossman, founder of Hold the Light Collective. This is a special series, a guided exploration of the Freedom Transmissions, a spiritual book about building a strong inner foundation so you can show up more authentically in your life and in the world. Let's begin. The Thread and Stitching of the Dreaming, Part 1, pages 81 through 96. Starting now, we move into Part 2 of the book. These are the Freedom Transmissions. Part 1 was the Sacred Heart Transmissions. This second part of the book is made up of 9 separate transmissions under the umbrella of the Freedom Transmissions that were channeled by Carissa over the course of 9 days. As Carissa shared in my earlier conversation with her here on Hold the Light, these specific transmissions were essential to set the foundation for the collective shifts that were occurring and would continue to occur as we transition into a new era, the era of Christ consciousness. This book and the transmissions shared here are about setting up the foundation for other future offerings. They're here to give us support as we move through periods of change while staying dropped into our peace. Or, as Carissa has said, to stay dropped into the love-trust spigot as opposed to the fear and control spigot. So we use the Freedom Transmissions to look at the foundations of our lives and to help us find stability, anchoring, stillness as the world continues to change around us. Transmission 1 is called The Weaving of Spirit Upon the Web of Life, and the chapter within this transmission is called The Thread and Stitching of the Dreaming. Because of the depth of information, I'm breaking up this transmission into 2 episodes. So today, we'll discuss the definition of threading and stitching according to the Freedom Transmissions. We will look at the web of life and how we're all interconnected. We'll discuss how to unstitch from our imbalances and distortions. We'll look at why practicing present moment awareness is so important to our spiritual lives. And finally, how we can raise our vibration in order to connect with our true essence and nature. This is The Thread and Stitching of the Dreaming, Part 1. The teachings of this first transmission begin with this bolded line: nature is the common thread that unites you all. Remember this line, because we're going to circle back to it at the end of this book. Here, Yeshua doesn't mean just nature as in the earth. We begin by learning that it is the nature of the essence of our soul, the nature of the essence of our consciousness, creator and creation, creation and creator. So essentially, it's our Yeshua self that unites us all. Our nature is divine. The teachings of the Freedom Transmissions tell us that in our origin story, our soul is woven and stitched into a body through our DNA, our chakras, bones, blood, heart, and spirit. It's through being informed that gives us the perception of an identity that is the self. However, we're not just a soul in human form, we also have a spirit body, which is, as we're taught, the space all around us, the strings, threads, energy that connects us to the web of life. So we're either connected with the divine through living a soul-based awareness, or we're disconnected. And what happens when we're disconnected? Well, we're out of alignment from our essence. We're being led by our mind. There's a lack of humility and awareness. In this space, we're not living by the energies of peace. Remember those? Simplicity, stability, surrender, and stillness. We're being led by our imbalances, which often get rewarded by the outside world and our ego, where the focus is on money, success, prestige, and influence. More stress, more money, more power. In this chapter, we're reminded that when we die, we don't take any of this with us. We don't take the stuff, the accolades, the money, or the influence. We learn never in your spirit, your sacred heart, will you remember posts, news, reports, games, intimate moments with wine and sugar, or quests for money, sex, and power. What we do take with us are moments of intimacy or moments of forgiveness. It's when we choose faith over fear and reach for the courage to honor what is right for us instead of what others tell us. We take with us memories of walking by the ocean or standing under the stars, or it's in the moments when we say goodbye to loved ones or hello to strangers. We take with us the times when we feel truly seen by another or when we offer that same grace to someone else. We carry moments of connection and communion. We bring with us the moments that we allowed our soul to co-create with our spirit in alignment with the divine, and how much we experience knowing ourselves as the divine in human form. So, how does this relate to threading and stitching? If it's helpful, think of threading and stitching as vibrations and waves. We each have our own vibration that's unique to us. This is our energy. And since everyone and everything is energy or frequency, we're all connected to each other and to a vast invisible field of energy, the web of life. The question being asked here in this chapter is, what and whose frequency are you on? What do you stitch to? And what do you want to unstitch from? This can be people, things, places, ideas, basically any of the 7 imbalances we've already discussed. As we move along our spiritual path in this lifetime, burying our head in the sand becomes unsustainable. So we must look at the imbalances and distortions that keep us in density so that we can begin to unstitch from them and begin to weave back into our natural essence. When we unstitch, we restore the clear vision of who we are. And who are we? We're light. We're love. We're divine. So let's think about this tapestry, this web of life that we weave with. It's not just what we see before us, our, quote, reality, right? It extends into the unseen, into the universe. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. At the heart of it all is love. And the teachings share that when it is said that your love, it's not just your soul or body. The entire stitching and threading of the vibration that you are is of the fabric of love. So we're stitched in love and to love. But guess what? We're also stitched in love knots. These love knots are things like our ancestor story and personal karma. As you can imagine, being stitched to these love knots are what results in the imbalances and distortions. I found this part of this chapter to be so interesting. It says that prior to even going somewhere, anywhere, your soul and spirit have already stitched you to the place and people there, and they to you. It's a co-creative choice to weave and flow with others that happens on a level far beyond the mind's comprehension. It does not matter whether you like the people or not, whether you are stitched to them while walking past them once on a sidewalk, whether you are woven to them with one simple plane ride, or whether you stitch to them for a lifetime. So we're stitched in some way to everyone we encounter. And this might be a point in your life where you're reevaluating who and what you want to be stitched to, and who and what you want to untie the knot from. You're probably finding yourself being drawn to weaving and braiding in a way that feels aligned with your natural essence. Keep in mind that as you wake up to the realization of what you've been stitching to, it might feel uncomfortable. Making changes is uncomfortable. Unstitching and unweaving from family members, media, friends, financial systems, politicians, and things in your life that aren't serving you can be overwhelming, especially when those people and systems project their own fear and illusions onto you and try to scare you from separating from them. We will all experience some polarization as we look at who in our world is choosing transparency, faith, and forgiveness, and who's choosing fear, rage, distortions, and blame. It's each individual's choice if they want to be in the light or be in the shadow. This is why many changes might be occurring in your relationships, where you live, your job, and even your identity. So, how do we unstitch from these distortions and illusions and weave ourselves deeper into our light and authenticity? It's not hiding from the distortions and illusions or trying to apply quick fix methods. Turns out, they can't even be healed with our heart. And it's not through the mind. It's not using knowledge or wisdom. As we learn, our brain and our imbalanced ego likes to keep us stitched to more dense things, behaviors, and people, anything that perpetuates its story of self. It prefers to keep us stitched to what we know, even when we're unhappy. To unstitch, we must move from an external focus to being internal focus and find liberation on the inside. Basically, it needs to come from our soul. So, take a moment right now and think about the stitching of your life. Actually, don't think. Feel. Feel into who and what you're stitched to, including family members, your home, your animals, your work, and your behaviors. And then, feel if any of those stitches feel more like love knots. What or who brings you feelings of love, and what brings you feelings of anxiety and doubt? What energizes you, and what depletes you? Do you wish to be stitched to your addictions, or to communities that feed on fear and hate, or to old stories that your ego mind tells you to keep you feeling safe, but really it keeps you feeling small, or to feelings of shame? If you can, take some time and journal about this, or just give yourself time to think about these questions after meditating or while out on a walk. As we talked about in an earlier chapter and episode, we all have free will. So if we want to stitch to people, places, and things that aren't in alignment with our highest selves, that's a choice. But what if you are ready to unstitch? When we unstitch from balanced thoughts, emotions, trauma, and density, the lighter we will become. To unstitch, we need to raise our vibration. To raise our vibration, we need to work with our emotions and thoughts. So I imagine you've heard this before, that how we think affects how we feel, and how we feel affects our behavior, which then becomes our personality, and our personality becomes our personal reality. So if we want to raise our vibration and rebalance our imbalances and change things in our lives, we need to take responsibility for how we're thinking. Everything we stitch to can either be interpreted by our ego or by the divine. It's our mind that manipulates our emotions. And as we learn through the teachings, emotions are simply vibrations that need to be expressed, moved, processed, held, and brought back into balance. Not through projecting them onto others, or even needing to know where they came from and why, but expressed through movement, creativity, laughter, tears, courage, vulnerability, and allowing. Peace comes through this allowing. So do this first. Take time every day to drop into present moment awareness. Maybe in the morning when you wake, to sit, breathe, and observe your thoughts. Pause, observe, and exhale. And then repeat. Pause, observe your thoughts, exhale. As you become aware, say to yourself, I am stitching to a thought. Is this a resonant thought, or is this a dissonant thought? As we learn through the text, even just that awareness can restore you to the present and bring light. If it brings you a feeling of peace, you're in surrender. If the thought brings fear, resentment, reaction, or regret, give it over. Exhale it in full trust to the divine. It may take a moment or it may take a year for it to feel fully lifted, but try to just trust that you're being cared for. And this is why you're here, to work in co-creation with something greater than yourself. The book teaches us that the divine, when working with your spirit, can bring you what you need to transcend the dissonance and restore the resonance. What you need to do is work with your own divine presence, not in judgment, but in allowing. Moving forward, practice present moment awareness in your everyday. Be aware of your thoughts and how a particular thought makes you feel. Be aware and cautious of what you stitch to and what you allow to stitch to you. Practice humility, integrity, and kindness. As we're taught, these are the three of the most powerful qualities of your Yeshua self, and yet often the least valued in our world. These qualities bring consciousness and prevent the love knot from forming in the first place. Choose faith over fear, especially now as your soul is freeing you from many things in your life right now. And to raise your vibration, do things that feel like inspiration. Get out into nature, watch a sunset, play with your pet, meditate, listen to music, write, watch stand-up comedy, dance, play an instrument, make art, follow your joy. And finally, I'll leave you with this quote from Yeshua, found on page 92. At a certain moment, when you're ready, you will even have moments of unstitching from the concept of being I, to become the I am, and the we, the one. That is the journey. That is the journey of why you come to body, to remember the all that you're part of, no matter what. It will take you far longer to return home to this space of unity when you fight your own self and the flow of your spirit from your doubt, endless dissatisfaction, and seeking. I exist within you, so why don't you start there and leave the rest up to me. Here's your focus until the next episode. Read or reread the remainder of the chapter, The Thread and Stitching of the Dreaming, found in Part 2, The Freedom Transmissions, under Transmission 1, The Weaving of Spirit Upon the Web of Life, pages 96 through 106. Do the writing exercise on page 106. As it says on this page, this writing is very important, so please take the time. In the audiobook, listen to the remainder of the chapter, The Thread and Stitching of the Dreaming, found in Part 2, The Freedom Transmissions, starting at the 2144 mark in the second section of the recording of this chapter. All links and information are in the show notes, in addition to a Google form where you can ask any question that comes up for you. Thanks all. Keep holding the light. If this series is resonating with you, I'd love to stay connected. Visit holdthelightcollective.com to sign up for my weekly newsletter, Build the Light. It's where I share good news for the soul, plus my latest events and offerings. All links are in the show notes. And if this podcast has meant something to you, the most generous thing you can do is share it with someone. Hold the Light is produced by me, Lori Gunning-Grossman, with additional producing and sound design by Jonathan Grossman, who also wrote our original theme music. Until next time, keep holding the light.